Hello BookTube, today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on Dune, which I'm reading as a part of a read-along in June with Shawn Standfast, Deb from Rainer Reads Stuff, Randy Ray from the Literate Texan and Steve Donahue. The read-along splits the book up along the three parts the book consists of. Each part is called a book, and this week's book was the first one, also called Dune. The story is set about 8,000 years in the future, where humanity is spread across the universe and is in an empire. The empire is sort of feudalistic, and is sort of split between the emperor, these great aristocratic families, and the people who control the travel through the universe. And one of these families, in this book follows one of the families, the Atreides, who live on the planet Caladan, and they have recently been given to the outward appearance the honour of governing the planet Arrakis, which is also nicknamed Dune. Dune is important within the Empire because it is where the spice melange, the drug which enables people to travel through space, it's the only source of that. And so being given this honour, being given control of the planet is to the outward eye a great honour, particularly given that the house that had controlled it previously were the Harkonnens, and they were the great enemies of the Atreides. And however, this is a trap seemingly set by the Harkonnens, with apparently the connivance of the Emperor. However, the head of the Atreides, Duke Leto, knows this, but he cannot back out of it because it is a great honour. And so in the first part, in the first book, we follow Duke Atreides, Duke Leto, his concubine, Lady Jessica, and their son Paul, who is the main character, as they move from Caladan to Arrakis, and then they settle in there, and they get to learn about the planet and the nature of things. Now, I won't go any further in terms of the plot, because I don't want to spoil it, because this, for me, is a first-time read, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody else who hasn't read it. However, what I can say is I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a even though the book is quite big, I read that first book, which is about in just over a day. I started it. I cheated. I did cheat, and I started it at about 8 o'clock on Friday evening. But I finished this on. I should say I'm recording this on Sunday. I finished the first part of the book about 7 o'clock on Saturday evening. I'd started in the mid-afternoon as well, and it really went fast. And I say it went fast. I was drawn along by it. I know the plot is fast moving. It doesn't seem in any way hurried. The plotting is perfect. You really do get a sense of the sort of hostile nature of Arrakis, as well as sort of the intricate plots that are going on between the Atreides, the Harkonnens, and the involvement of the Emperor. You also get the sort of machinations and intrigues of the Bene Gesserit order, and the villain in it, who is the head of the Harkonnens, Baron Vladimir, is a well-drawn villain. He really is like some great spider in the middle of a web, sort of pulling all the strings. The sort of cliffhanger, as it were, on which the first book ends, is really well done, and he comes out of nowhere, even though you know it's coming from pretty much the first chapter of the book. You know something is going to happen, and you essentially within the first couple of chapters know exactly what the nature of what's going to happen when it happens. But when it does occur, it really does hit, and it's really well done. And the whole thing, that moves at a real fast pace, and you get the real sense of urgency and danger in it. I won't explain what goes on, but I promise you, if you haven't read this, really do, because that first bit really does work well. I'm really looking forward to reading the next part, which is book 2, called Medivh. I'm going to start that obviously next week, which will be all started on the Saturday itself. I'm really looking forward to it. I did actually have to stop myself from going on reading any further. I've enjoyed it so much, so I'm convinced, just going off for the first book, I'm going to have to end up having to read the whole of the Dune series. Going off what Shawn said, reading the Frank Herbert Dune books. I'm not sure about the other ones, because I've heard that Herbert's ones aren't that good. On one note, something that talking with Shawn Lee Standfast, something I noticed, which I noticed, and what we actually both noticed, is that this isn't a spoiler, I don't think, and Shawn doesn't think it is. I should say Shawn has read Dune several times. He's read the whole series several times. He's read it inside out, back to front. And there's a reference early on to Duke Leto wearing a wristwatch, which is it stands out somewhat, because you're talking, as I say, this takes place about 8,000 years in the future, and you'd think, and they've got all this sort of technology, these helicopters and these film books and all sorts, and then you get this reference to a wristwatch, and it just seems odd. And me and Shawn were talking about it, and you'd see it must either be a wristwatch in the manner of something like like we have the Apple Watches now, where it's a watch and then also a great deal more else, or it's an actual wristwatch which is possibly a family heirloom passed down. Say it's a Rolex from the 1950s that's been passed down over the course of 8,000 years. Who knows? Hopefully that, or as Shawn has pointed out, it might just be a one-off thing that sort of Frank Herbert mentioned in passing, and didn't think anything of it. So I've got to say, I'll be interested to see if that comes to anything. But as I say, really enjoyed book 1. Really look forward to reading book 2, and that's my initial sort of impressions of Dune so far. We will be having a live stream on Saturday, the 8th of June, to discuss this. And we haven't quite set out who and where yet. The time will probably be sort of 6-7 o'clock in the evening UK time. But we'll put up a video. Either me or Shawn will probably both put one up, sort of putting out the details of the live stream. So with that, BookTube, I will say goodbye, and I will see you in terms of another video today quite soon. So goodbye.